What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Wednesday, September 4th. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online. Stream it wherever in this world of ours at sportstalk1051.com. Got your smart devices, smart speakers, the Sports Talk app. Download that puppy and take it on the go. And plus, video streams also up and rolling on YouTube and Facebook here on this Wednesday morning. But if you're up and at it already, appreciate you making us a part of your start. What do we got on a good old game plan for us here this morning? Brew Crew falling late last night. Extra innings took 12 innings for the game to complete, but nonetheless, the Cardinals coming out on top, 7-4, 7-4. Brewers offense pretty darn cold after the fifth inning. Was 3-3. And then, of course, extra innings, 3-3. Each team scored a run in the 11th thanks to a Willie Adames double in the bottom of the 11th. But putting up 12, or excuse me, putting up 3 runs in the top of the 12th. Enough for them to secure the victory. But Brewers just 5 total hits. One of them did include a Jackson Chourio home run. So Jackson Chourio, another home run. His 19th of the season. He is now 1 home run away from having a 2020 season, 20 home runs, and 20 stolen bases. So, but after the fifth, it was cold. Even Pat Murphy, after the game last night, kind of talking about his offense, said he did credit the pitching staff from the Cardinals, but also said it just wasn't our normal output by a mile. I take it maybe too personally. That's just me. I love the guys. I don't get mad at the guys. I wish they understood how they're capable of staying mentally tough there. So, but hey, we'll recap it and take a look to tonight's game. The final time we'll see Brewers and Cardinals in this this regular season here. Colin Ray is going to be on the mound. Sonny Gray is going to be going for the Cardinals. Brewers still remain 10 games up in first place in their division. So we've got baseball talk on the docket here. Packers getting set to fly out to Brazil. Getting set to fly out to Brazil today to get their season kicked off Friday night against the Philadelphia Eagles. Their Packers. The first injury report. That's when you know the regular season's here. Because once you get that injury report out there, then it kind of starts to feel like football season out there. One player did not participate for the Packers, Marshawn Lloyd, the rookie running back, who did practice the last couple days beforehand. However, he did not suffer a setback, according to Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur saying that it was part of the plan after having a couple of good days of practice. It was part of the plan for him to sit out. Edgerrin Cooper, Romeo Doubs, Carrington Valentine, and Emmanuel Wilson all listed as limited participants in practice. Apparently, Romeo, where far out thou Romeo, did suffer a hand contusion. He said a hand contusion, but it doesn't sound too serious at this point in time. So, but other than that, fairly healthy. Yeah, fairly healthy. So, we'll talk some Packers. I'm feeling a little bold today. All right, I'm feeling a little bold. So, with the Packers getting set to start their season, the Brewers wrapping up their regular season. Don't want to jinx anything, but looks like they're going to be going to the postseason. Badger football kicking off their season this past Friday, getting set for South Dakota coming up here this week before Alabama next week. What are some bold predictions that you got? Not like now, okay, we could get really bold with some of our predictions, right? Have a little fun with this. But what's a bold prediction that maybe you have a little bit of confidence, or maybe you feel like just there's a tiny part of you, a small part of you thinks like, you know what, I think that could happen. It's a bold prediction, but there's a small part of me that I think this could actually happen. I want to do it for both Packers, Brewers, and Badgers since we're getting set for, well, set for the Packers. Badgers just started, and then wrapping up this final month of the regular season with the Brewers team that is set to get into the postseason again this year and surpassing a lot of expectations for this season. So I'm feeling bold. Okay, I want some good bold predictions, but again, bold predictions that there's a small, at least, maybe there's a lot of you, but at least a small part of you that thinks I think that could happen, man. I think that could happen. Hit me up with some texts. All right, come on, let's flood up that texting line. Don't be shy with your bold predictions this morning. 715-830-1912. Or you can comment on the video stream, or hit me up on Twitter /X at DANKASPER. Also hit me up on Facebook or Instagram over there. I want some good ones. All right, I want some good ones. So we'll hit that up. We're gonna do a little business and sports coming up in the 8 o'clock hour too. So we'll hit that up just past 8 o'clock over there. What else do we got? Don't forget also you can sign up. Speaking of football, really quick, get to our website and sign up for our Pro Football Weekly Pickup Challenge because games start tomorrow. Chiefs, Ravens already. Doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it. But get those picks on in. Okay. Head to our website, sportstalk1051.com. Click on the fan cave tab and then scroll down to the bottom and you'll see it. You'll see it over there. So, but yeah, scroll down to the bottom and catch it up over there. Okay. Let's get things rolling this morning, shall we? Brew Crew falling to the Cardinals. We'll hit that up and look ahead to tonight's game. I want to talk a little bit more about the bullpen with the bullpen because the Brewers making a kind of a flood of moves before the game yesterday too, including Hudson, who has been one of their best bullpen guys for a long part of the season, especially like first half of the season. And we saw him the other day, and it, we mentioned it yesterday too. It just seemed a little off. But the Brewers sending him down to AAA because they just weren't happy or a little concerned about where his velocity was and how he's pitching. And Pat Murphy even before or Pat Murphy yesterday saying he called it the toughest conversation this season, telling Hudson that he was being sent to the minors. Because on the surface, when you look at it, 1.73 ERA, hitless, scoreless appearances in 6 of his last 7 times out. So on the surface, numbers wise, it was pretty good. But the Brewers had some concerns. Looking at his velocity, it was kind of falling down there a little bit. So the Brewers opting to send him down, kind of just, to get back on track and maybe get a little bit more rest and all that too. So also Bryce Wilson placed on the 15-day IL. He's got a right oblique strain. So again, another a relief pitcher that can give you a couple innings. But again, we got Aaron Ashby in that bullpen. We've got, Joe Ross, we talked about how well he has played coming out of the pen here too. So, but we'll talk a little bit about this pitching staff and how it's kind of shaping up maybe as we get closer to the postseason and such too. And of course, we'll talk a little green and gold here in this first hour. Send me those bold predictions. I'm very interested, curious, intrigued to see some solid bold predictions. Again, the the tripod here. All right. Brewers, Packers, Badgers. Give me some bold predictions. I'm feeling bold as we're making a turn on this week already here. All right. Hit me up. I want it. I want some good ones. Okay. Let's take that first break and then we'll get things humming this morning. All right. Got the lead off coming up here. Join in on the convo. What else is on your mind? All right. Hit me up with a text, message on Facebook, Twitter, video stream comments, all that good stuff. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. As we already mentioned, our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge is set to begin tomorrow with Chiefs and Ravens kicking off the NFL season. So if you want to be a part of our very popular Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge, make sure you don't miss any games. You got to sign up right now for free. It takes you a few seconds if you've already done this or you've already signed up. It's just you're signing in and boom, make your picks. Otherwise, if you're new, awesome, great, join in. It's a good group of peeps over there, and we'll keep you updated each week on the leaderboard and such. But it's free. It's easy to make some picks. Be giving away some stuff at the end of the season there too. But head to our website again, sportstalk1051.com. Click on that fan cave tab. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you can sign up. But while you are visiting the fan cave tab, hey, there's a few other things to take note of while you are there. All right. We're looking for our featured sports fan. All right, featured sports fan. You know somebody, maybe it's yourself, where you're like, you know what? I think this is a diehard Packers fan, this is a diehard Brewers fan, this is a diehard Eau Claire North fan, whatever the case may be. Let us know. More info over there. Weekend Warriors shout outs. All right, whether you're biking 10 miles on one weekend or you're still playing some softball games or you won your golf club championship. That's the Weekend Warriors. Backyard tailgates. Get a good recipe for the grill or such. Share it with the rest of us. Throwback Thursday. Well, we do those every Thursdays. If you got a Throwback Thursday nomination. Also, the keepers of sports, people that still are involved with it for the love of the game, whether it's or play for the love of the game, whether it's a kiddo that's playing Parks and Rec or Y ball or a volunteer coach or an official that is dedicating time to be out there, and you want to give them a little bit of a shout out to. Again, do that and more conversation or more info throughout that fan cave tab over there. So, all right. Got a couple of bold predictions coming through here already. I like it. I like it. Justin saying bold prediction. Packers' new defensive scheme results in them leading the league in turnovers. All right. I like it. Bold, but not completely out of the realm. Bold. You know what I mean? What else do we got over here? I know I asked this for Packers on Facebook the other day, so I'll go through a couple of the couple of the Packer ones here. Brian went with the game first. Packers 34, Eagles 13. Defense not only stops the Eagles, but gets a couple of turnovers. The D line is too much for Hurts. And he spends quite a bit of time on his back. The O is dominant in all facets. Running back, tight end, wide receiver. And there's a touchdown from each position. Oh, by the way, the Pack goes 17-0 on a season. Love it. Let's go, Dave Bold, LaFleur, Coach of the Year. Packers beat the Lions in the NFC Championship game and Ravens in the Super Bowl. Brett saying Xavier McKinney or X, excuse me, X will be the Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, Xavier McKinney, Defensive Player of the Year. For some reason, I kept reading Defensive Rookie of the Year. My apologies. Jacobs, 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. Let's go with what else do I got here? We got okay. A couple of those are just game picks. Looking for season-long bold predictions over there. So keep them coming. Whether it's Packers, whether it's Brewers, whether it's Badgers, whatever you want to do. If you want to do one for each, perfectly fine. If you want to do just one of them, perfectly fine too. So hit me up with the text over there. I know we're getting into the season 2 of all the national sports media people out there making their season-long predictions and so looking at CBS Sports, their NFL writers making some predictions and such, and there were a couple of staff members at CBS Sports that do have the Packers winning the Super Bowl. That's Pete Prisco, longtime NFL writer, and then Tyler Sullivan also picking the Packers to win. In fact, Tyler Sullivan has the Packers beating the Jets in the Super Bowl. Pete has the Packers defeating the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. So I think we'll do kind of those picks, unless it's involved in your bold prediction. But we might do this. We're going to do the season predictions coming up tomorrow and such. So, all right, keep those coming. I'll get back to a few more a little bit later on. Let's talk some Brewers to open up things here quickly this morning. Brew Crew falling last night in extra innings, 12 innings it took for the Brewers to fall to the Cardinals 7-4. 7-4. Willie Adames only hit post fifth inning last night. Brewers offense going cold, ice cold after the fifth inning, and it wasn't until Willie Adames hitting that double in the 11th. Jackson Cheerio earlier in the game hitting his 19th home run of the season. He had Joey Ortiz also putting up a home run for the Crew last night, but offense, it was a struggle after that fifth inning. Pat Murphy even saying after the game last night, kind of talking a little bit about his offense. Did give credit to the pitching staff for the Cardinals, but also said it just wasn't our normal output by a mile. I take it maybe too personally. That's just me. I love the guys. I don't get mad at the guys. I wish they understood how they're capable of staying mentally tough there. And I know there was some issues with the strike zone last night too. You know, it looked like the high strike was open last night. Cardinals manager and bench coach getting the boot in one argument, 2-for-1 special, getting the boot there. So Cardinals hitting coach, I believe, was the hitting coach that had to fill in for the skipper last night there. But I know there were some issues with the strike zone last night too. But nonetheless, hey, it was for both ball clubs over there. So. Brewers will try to bounce back and win this series against the Cardinals. Got Colin Ray on the mound, Sonny Gray on the mound for the Cardinals. That should be a good matchup tonight. Intrigued to see that. What else does it's kind of maybe not a fair question to ask because he's been pretty darn solid throughout this whole season. But what else does Colin Ray have for us here tonight? 12-4 so far on this season, 3.70 ERA. Again, with a team that is filled with a bunch of surprises and a bunch of dudes who are just playing way past any expectations we've had. Colin Ray is one of those guys. Looking at the matchups here, you got a few guys on the Brewers who have a little bit more experience going up against Sonny Gray, which is no big surprise there. But Willie Adames in 12 at-bats does have a home run, and he's hit .417 career-wise against him, 1.361 ERA. Rhys Hoskins, 15 at-bats, does have a home run, 267 and 867. 867 OPS. Then you got some guys who have a couple games worth, but those are your two with double digits over there. Cardinals-wise, going up against Colin Ray, Nolan Arenado, 8 at-bats, 0 for average. Paul Goldschmidt, 8 at-bats, 250 average. Not too many guys, it seems like, with the Brewers pitching staff have some solid numbers going up against Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt's had the Brewers numbers for a while there. And that's the most. Otherwise, you got like about a game's worth between some of these other hitters going up against Colin Ray. But just a little bit of a quick scouting report. Sonny Gray's coming off of a win against the Padres where he went 6 innings, giving up 3 hits, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts, and before that had 2 losses. One of those, though, against the Dodgers, he went 5 innings and gave up 2 earned runs, but still getting charged with the loss there. Sonny Gray in the month of August, I know we're in September, but he wrapped up the month of August starting 6 games, went 2-3 with a 4.50 ERA in that stretch. Colin Ray, meanwhile, is coming off of 4 innings of work against Cincinnati, 3 earned runs, 5 strikeouts. Before that, picked up the win against Oakland, 6 2/3, 4 earned runs, 5 strikeouts. And then it was that game against Cleveland where he picked up the win, 7 innings, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts, no earned runs. Colin Ray finished off the month of August, 3-1 record, 4.11 ERA. In August, he had a couple. I mean, you go back to that Dodgers game on the 13th, he gave up 7 earned runs, and then in these final last couple games, 4 earned runs and 3 earned runs, which spiked up his ERA. But Colin Ray, here's one of the numbers that has impressed me the most from Colin Ray in the month of August. 5 games he started, and he issued just 1 walk. 1 walk in 30, a little over 30 innings pitched, 30 and 2/3. 1 walk, and it was the first game in August. August 6th against Atlanta, he issued 1 walk. Since then, 4 1, 2, 3, 4 straight games, Colin Ray has not issued a walk. And when you look at it in terms of his overall season, April he issued in 4 games, 7 walks. I mean, he had 6 and 2, 3 apiece. May numbers were up there. He had 12. I mean, there was a stretch where he had issued 4 walks against Houston. That Houston game, I still remember listening to that one, and then followed up with 3 against Boston. Bounced back though, 7 walks issued in 5 games in June, 7 in July, but just one walk issued in the month of August in 5 games. That's the number that stands out to me. Not issuing any free passes, any free base runners over there. So I'm excited. I think this is an intriguing game tonight. I think you look at Sonny Gray and Colin Ray, looking at those 2 veteran pitchers over there. I think it's going to be a good one tonight. I just hope the Brewers offense kind of bounces back. On the surface, you're like, well, they scored 4 runs. Were they that bad? Well, when you don't have another hit after post 5th inning until the 11th, I mean, yeah, got to give some run support over there. Got to give your pitching staff a little bit more run support. Willie Adames' streak of home runs ending at 5, but hopefully the offense can jump out and put up some early runs against Sonny Gray to give Colin Ray an early lead to work with here. Brewers are still 10 games up in the division, though. 10 games up over the Cubbies for first place. Your kind of daily look at where the standings are across Major League Baseball. And I don't want to take it for granted or anything like that, but I think we're all kind of just assuming the Brewers will win this division, that they'll take care of the Central. Magic number last I saw was 13 when I looked at it this morning. Still at 13 there. But kind of your gander around, if you will, the rest of Major League Baseball and seeing how these playoff chases are going right now. For the American League, Baltimore now. See, I mean, this is going back and forth with the NL East here. Baltimore, they're back in it as the division leader. They've won 3 in a row. You got Cleveland, Houston, your other division leaders, Yankees, Twins, Kansas City. Detroit is now 4.5 back, the same as the Boston Red Sox. We talked about Detroit yesterday as being one of those teams that's playing really good baseball. Of like, can they make a late push in this thing? I don't know, but if Detroit gets in this thing and they somehow get into a wild card positioning, you're potentially maybe, no, it wouldn't work out that way. But I was going to say, could we have 3 AL Central teams? No, it wouldn't, because, I mean, one of them is going to be Baltimore or New York. Whoever loses that division, unless, like, one of those teams, like, just goes on this catastrophe, like, fall, and it's just, like, dropping every game here towards the stretch here. But when you look at the AL Central in Cleveland, Minnesota, Cleveland looks to have a little bit more of a strong hold on their division right now. But Cleveland, Minnesota, Kansas City, right now, if the playoffs started, those teams would be in it. Detroit's 4.5 back. And then you got Chicago, the White Sox, who are just absolutely putrid. 31 and 109. Just, I mean, there's a perfect example of almost like top heavy, and then you got that one team that just takes everything now. Nationally, again, no changes there. Dodgers picking up a win. Philadelphia now They're getting in a little bit of a groove here. 8-2 in their last 10. They've won their last 3. Brewers still trying to chase them to get one of those top 2 spots there. And then you get the Padres, Diamondbacks, and the Braves. Mets, though, just a half game back. Cubbies, 4.5 back. Cardinals still trying to hang around here a little bit. To quote the Counting Crows there, they're just 5.5 back right now from their postseason or to get a wild card spot. If the playoffs started right now, Milwaukee would be hosting Atlanta. Milwaukee would be the 3rd seed. Then you'd have the Diamondbacks taking on the Padres, which those 2 teams are still kind of in it, or I shouldn't say kind of in it, but playing really well and still kind of hot. I mean, they were making that charge, right? Really pushing the Dodgers there for division. That could be a fun series. Philly and Dodgers, of course, getting their buys. American League wise, you would have Houston versus Kansas City in a 3-6 matchup. Sorry, Twins fans, but right now it'd be Twins and Yankees. I think Twins fans, I mean, like, really? Can we just try to avoid the Yankees in the postseason by any means? Baltimore be the 1 and Cleveland be the 2 if the postseason started today. So, I was looking at MLB.com too. All 90% postseason odds are better right now. It's actually a big list. Yankees, Baltimore, Guardians, Twins, Astros, Phillies, Brewers, Dodgers, Padres. That's 9 teams in their statistics, 90% or better to make the postseason. All right, let's take a quick break here. Bold predictions. I want to get back to some more bold predictions coming up here. So hit me up with a text, 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. All right, 715-830-1912. Take a quick break. We'll finish up the first hour, maybe. Why does this computer work once in a while? No, there we go. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Our quest is on to find the ultimate Wisconsin outdoorsman, adult and for youth. Just head to sportstalk1051.com and click on the outdoors tab over there. Do you think you're the ultimate Wisconsin outdoorsman? Prove it. We've created a quest to see how many outdoor activities you can accomplish from September right now through next August, because we know there's different seasons for hunting and fishing and that sort of stuff. So all you got to do is take a photo of yourself doing the activity and submit it, upload it there. No cheating. We could tell if it's an old photo or such. But we got the checklist up there. Like I'm not expecting anybody to hit off every mark on here, but whoever accomplishes the most will be crowned the ultimate Wisconsin outdoorsman. Again, adults and youth divisions over there. So some examples are open water, walleye, ice fishing, walleye, little fly fishing on there. We've got sturgeon on there, hunting wise, whitetail buck or a whitetail deer with your rifle. If you do a little predator, waterfowl, or even foraging, like for morel mushrooms, you find deer shed. Got a wild card one out there too. If you go hunting or fishing outside of Wisconsin and you get something, you could submit it. Bow fishing, trapping. I mean, it's a boatload. Hiking a trail, camping, visiting a state park, all across the board. Again, submit the photos going to sportstalk1051.com. We got that link on the outdoors tab over there where you can submit it. And once we get a few more, we've already got some, but once we get a few more, we'll put up a leaderboard up there to see where everybody's at. So that should be fun to see everybody out there now that we've got some hunting seasons opening up. Bear season starts today, so there you go. Best of luck to all the bear hunters out there. That's one of the checklists over there. So I know sturgeon just opened up the other day, and other stuff going on too. So again, check it out at our website, sportstalk1051.com. Jeremy had a couple bold predictions here. I like it. Not a Packers bold prediction. That's fine. We're looking for Packers, Brewers, Badgers. But he says Jackson Cheerio continues this hot streak throughout the rest of the year and wins Rookie of the Year. He's making that push, man. His Packers prediction, Packers have 2 receivers with 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. I like that. That's bold. I'm feeling bold today. Give me some good bold predictions. But ones that you still feel like there's a small part of you, at least a small part of you, you know what, that still might happen. That still might happen. I've got my 5 Packers bold predictions for this year in no particular order. In no particular order. Okay? I've got my 5 bold Packers predictions as we get set for kickoff Friday night against the Philadelphia Eagles. I've got a receiver getting 1,000 yards this year too. For all the talk about a receiver getting 1,000 yards, or excuse me, who the number 1 wide receiver is, I think eventually, naturally progress. It'll progress to like, oh, okay, that guy kind of rose to the top, kind of the cream of the crop. Cream rises to the top there. I think it naturally will happen. But I think the receiver that gets 1,000 yards this year, bold prediction, remember, I'm going to go Dontavian Wicks. Dontavian Wicks gets 1,000 yards receiving. I'm not comfortable, 100% comfortable in that, but that's why we call it bold predictions. So Dontavian Wicks gets 1,000 yards receiving this year. Josh Jacobs. Okay, Josh Jacobs. I'm going to go with, I think he gets over at least, but over 1,700 total yards, not 1,700 rushing yards, but 1,700 total yards. 1,700. I'm going to put the line at 17. So that could be 1,000 yards rushing, 700 yards receiving, whatever. But over 1,700 total yards from scrimmage. So that's where I'm riding with that one. What's next on my bold predictions list here? Got 2 defensive ones coming up here. Rashawn Gary gets his first double-digit sack season within this new defense. He's been close a couple times. The closest, you got to go back to 2021, where he had 9.5 sacks. Last year, he had 9 sacks. But Rashawn Gary has never had a double-digit season with sacks. I think he accomplishes it this year with his hand in the dirt, playing a more prototypical defensive end with a defensive line that Jeff Hafley wants to be aggressive in pursuing the quarterback. Rashawn Gary gets his first double-digit sack season this year. Maybe that's not the boldest of bold predictions here, but considering we've got 5 seasons under his belt and he has yet to get a double-digit sack season, I'm riding with, I think he gets it in his 6th season this year. Staying on the defensive side, I think the Packers do finish top 5 in the league in turnovers, in creating turnovers, and getting interceptions, getting fumbles, that sort of thing. I think they will be top 5. You know what? I'm going to change it. Top 3. They're going to go top 3 in the league defensively in turnovers. Buying a little bit into the hype and the talk surrounding Jeff Hafley and this defense. I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They're going to play aggressive in coverage, and they are going to get a bunch of turnovers this year. Top 3 in the league in turnovers. And then finally, maybe the boldest of bold predictions out there. But we got to end our bold predictions with one really big-time bold prediction. All right? One big-time bold prediction. Braden Narvison is at least 88% from field goals this year. 88% from field goals this year. Misses just 1 extra point. Just 1 extra point this year. To which we will finish off the season by saying, Braden Narvison, you are our kicker for the foreseeable future. We will end this green and gold nightmare of trying to find a long-term solution at the kicking position. Not as long as Minnesota's gone through, or maybe even, Chicago post Robbie Gould. Not necessarily those droughts, but this is probably the biggest question mark, biggest concern amongst a lot of Packers fans. Braden Narvison will finish at least 88% from field goal range this year and only miss 1 extra point. He's going to get it done this year. He's going to get it done. So those are my top 5 Packers bold predictions for this season. Hey, speaking of bold predictions, want to remind you too, excited to partner up with Underdog Fantasy this season. With Underdog Fantasy, you can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats, like touchdowns and receiving yards. What I enjoy most about Underdog Fantasy is the ease of doing pick'ems. I was just doing them the other day. You got your players over there, and you literally just pick higher, lower, higher than 55.5 yards receiving, or lower. Boom. That's simple. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code Kasper, that's Kasper, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Kasper, to claim your new customer special of a free pick, and your deposit offer must be 18 and older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, we'll get back to some more bold predictions. We'll get back to some more bold predictions. I don't have the text line up right now, so I didn't get distracted because we were getting quite a few of you in the middle of the commercial break there. So we'll get to those coming up at the top of the or just a little bit past the top of the hour here. But not only just looking for Packers, we still got baseball, Brewers. What, 23 games left? Making this push to the playoffs. What's your bold prediction? Maybe as they get into the postseason, maybe is your bold prediction that they finish with the top two spot in the National League. Badger football, their season has kicked off. What's your bold prediction surrounding the Badger football program this year? One game in. And then, of course, the very popular one here so far this morning. What is your bold Packers predictions? All right. So we'll get to those coming up a little bit later on. Packers will be flying out to Brazil today. They practiced yesterday. First injury report to come out. Marshawn Lloyd did not practice, but Matt LaFleur saying no big concern. That was part of the plan after having after participating in 2 practices, 2 days worth of practices. The plan was for him to sit out this one. So other guys that were on there, limited participant, Romeo Dobbs, Carrington Valentine. But, Romeo Dobbs had got a contusion on his hand, but said that he was able to do everything he wanted to do at practice. So it doesn't seem like a big concern at this point in time, but, we'll see Friday. But that's when football season, the regular season, is really, really into gear when you see those injury reports, and then when you get into the season and it's like 10 players long, 12 players long. It's like, oh, gosh. I don't know if that's going to be the case for Green Bay this year, but that's almost a tradition unlike any other out there too. So, but hey, we'll get back to some more Brewers and Packers talk coming up in the next hour. Plus, we got a little business and sports coming at you about just past 8 o'clock. So we'll get to that over here too. I got a little. I'm going to tease it coming up in the next hour, but a little other Packer nugget thing to get to here coming up as well. So I'll save that for the next hour. So Dave, okay. I thought we had a breaking NFL news, but it's just Davis Mills 1-year extension with $5 million for the Texans. Okay, whatever. Davis Mills, backup quarterback. They got her done over there, I guess. So, okay. Let's go through a couple texts here before Morgs pops in here. This is from Dave. Bold prediction for the Packers. He says that Jordan Love will throw for over 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 5 picks. That seems like an Aaron Rodgers line there back in the day. So, bold prediction from Dave there. We've got Mike. Mike is saying bold prediction: Jair Alexander ends up with 8 interceptions this year. Oh, 8 interceptions for Alexander. All right, that's bold, sir. That's bold. But that's why we're looking for your bold predictions here. We got another one. Seth with a quick text here. Going with a Brewers bold prediction. Brewers. Actually, this was on Facebook here, but Brewers. Jackson Cheerio will win the Rookie of the Year. All right, a couple minutes. We've got Morgan. Good morning, Morgs.
Now, are you wearing Packers gear leading up to Friday every day? Because I think this marks day 2.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good.
There's a strategy to it.
Uh-huh.
Is this a new tailgate shirt that I see on?
It is. You like it?
I do. That's pretty good. And where'd you pick that up at?
Pro Shop.
Okay, so I see charcoal on the tailgate. Are you a charcoal guy?
Charcoal is the best, in my opinion.
Always with
it's
tailgates?
It's also the least. It's not the most convenient for tailgating.
Exactly. That's why I'm wondering.
But at least Lambeau's got the charcoal dump spots. So I will say that.
So are you going to bring it with you if you tailgate, or are you going to go for ease?
Depends who I tailgate with.
So who's your tailgate crew that, like, you're going to go charcoal, you're going to do it right, even if it's extra steps?
Probably my good buddy Bucky, but when I take Hudson to his first game, it might be a little gas grill.
You guys going this season?
Yeah, we're going to the 20th, the Houston one, Hudson's first regular season. So
is he more excited about that than school right now, or how's school starting for him? He's already over school?
Yeah.
Day 2?
Day 1 today.
Day 1?
It was
Oh.
welcome back yesterday, so we had to drop off stuff, and he was not happy. So
Oh, no, back to the grind again?
yeah.
Does he have a favorite book? We're doing, like, back to school and kids are getting all their books and
If it's a
crayons for
sports stats one,
Okay, so
sports
sports
facts
related.
one,
What about
so
comic books? Yeah, no?
nope,
Well, we're
nope.
gonna do a little Wednesday wild card action today for back to school. Instead of hitting really hard with the heavy hitting topics, I have some easy comic book questions for you.
All
You're
right,
gonna brush up. You don't have to think too hard.
all right.
Okay, don't hang your head. You know these. Batman's alter ego.
Bruce Wayne.
See, not
Okay.
difficult at all.
Is
Not
that alter ego or is that his real name?
well,
Isn't it Bruce Wayne's alter
wouldn't
ego is Batman?
yeah, well, Batman would be the alter ego of Bruce Wayne, probably.
Okay.
Kind of like Clark Kent.
That's why I didn't know if that was a trick question there.
Maybe
Okay.
early out of the gate. You're skeptical. You're always skeptical. Batman's sidekick.
Robin?
Okay, so now if you were gonna go as Halloween, because all of a sudden the costumes are everywhere in the stores.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're a Batman guy.
Yep.
Who are you gonna pick to be your Robin? If you have a tailgate buddy that's your charcoal backup, who's your go-to Robin in a pinch?
Probably Bucky.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Same guy?
Yeah.
That sounds like a solid friend.
Yeah.
He's gonna be your Robin. He's gonna put charcoal on its tailgate. All
Yep.
right.
He takes a while to light the grill though. He's a little bit slower in that. So
Okay, now, is that because he's better?
no. No.
Okay. Because grilling takes time. So what makes him slower at it? I've always wondered this about guys that where they're
Slow.
like, it takes time. Does it though?
Slow.
Because the heat's there.
Preparation. Slow.
Talk me through what makes a slow griller. It's you throw a broad on the grill, you get it crusty
It's
on the
this whole
outside.
setup process. He's
Oh,
slow.
there's a method.
Yeah. I remember one time we got to a game really quick, 10 seconds. We were going to tailgate for breakfast. By the time he finally finished breakfast, it was lunchtime.
Brunch.
Yeah.
This is why brunch and beer exist.
Oh, it was frustrating. Second hour kicking off on this September 4th, already making a turn on the week here. Big thanks for tuning in and participating in the program here too. Hit us up with some texts on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912, 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, or comment on the video stream and social media links and all that good stuff. We'll get to some more Brewers baseball, Packers getting set for kickoff here in a couple days. Reminder, we're going to be posted up over at Hy-Vee Friday morning for the program, 6A to 9A with the mobile man cave out there. Hy-Vee is going to be doing some stuff for kickoff that night, but some breakfast specials over there. We got breakfast nachos for just $4 over there. That's a heck of a deal. I'm going to be trying those puppies out for sure. We've got also for $4 breakfast sandwiches, breakfast quesadillas, 30% off the sports shop. So if you need any maybe green and gold gear, or maybe some more Badger gear, or you want to get some Bugle gear or some gear to represent your high school, they got all that at the sports shop there. Man Cave Lights, if you purchase a 6-pack of the new Man Cave Light, $6.99, get a couple bucks off the Dan Good Burger or any gourmet burger to put on the grill for a little tailgating that night. Also deals on other stuff like some apps, take and bake pizzas. They're going to have a 12-inch Packer cookie over there. Also giveaways, Packer appliances, sports shop gear, $50 gift card. So 6A to 9A will be over there doing the program. Brandon and myself will be over there from 6A to 9A. So stop on by. We're going to be outside. If the weather's nice, we're going to be outside and have a little tailgate set up over there. So all right, we'll get back to some more bowl predictions coming up here, but we're taking your bold predictions. Feel a little bold here this morning. You can let us know what your bold prediction is for the Packers, Brewers, or the Badgers by hitting us up with a quick message over there. I can't believe how early you were in already this morning, Lucas. That a boy. Way to be on Vince Lombardi time here this morning. 15 minutes ahead. That a boy.
I'm sick. I couldn't sleep.
You're sick? Seriously?
Yep.
Why are you in that? Go home.
I'm getting better, if you can believe it.
No, go home. Go home.
I almost want to. Right?
Just go. We don't need the germs flowing around. You get sick more than anybody I know with the sniffles.
I'm past the sniffles now. It's the cough.
Oh boy.
Yeah, okay. Sniffles is actually is not that bad.
Yeah.
Cough is not good.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well, knock it off.
At least the weather's like perfect for this.
Yeah.
You know, like summertime sicknesses are worse than winter sicknesses. Like if you get a bad cold and it's like 85 and it's sticky outside, that is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Not fun.
All right.
Not this time, though.
All right.
Decent weather for that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
so I guess I am ready for some football.
Yeah.
Because cold season's here.
Right. Exactly. So, all right. Your Twinnies, though, they fell to the Tampa Bay Rays 2-1. Is your hopes fading away for a division championship right now at this point?
Yeah, division championship isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But
do you know who your Twins would play if the playoffs started today? It would be the New York Yankees.
Yeah, it would, but that would also mean that the season would end with an uneven number of games because of that whole.
Oh, that's I know, but I'm just saying.
Yes, I know. I was looking this morning. I'm like, again. Well, maybe the Yankees just put us out of us. Sorry. Forget I'm not a member of the Minnesota Twins. Would put the team out of their misery a little early. This team, if healthy, is a legitimate World Series contender, but they're never healthy. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And I mean, the latest Buxton thing, like, he's had a little bit of an issue with his hip. Here we are pushing a month later. He's about to start his rehab assignment. What? Like, again, how do we have such fragile folks playing for that team? And they redid their training staff this year, and once again, everyone's getting injured. Like, what gives? I don't know. So I don't think they're going to fall out of the wild card anyway. I know there'd been like the Red Sox have been looking pretty feisty, but that's tailed off a fair amount. Tigers are
moving up a little bit.
They are. I know ESPN yesterday had their whole rundown of like predict who's going to win the MVP, who's going to finish the and then all the votes. And someone said, I can't remember who, like, the Tigers, have a decent enough schedule this last month. They're going to make a run and come up just short. That being said, whereas up until a week ago, I probably would have been more concerned as a Twins fan for the fragility of holding your wild card spot. It's the Royals now. I had no idea Vinny Pasquantino was like the difference between winning and losing so fundamentally. They haven't won since last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think at some point that stops. Like, they're not going to suddenly turn it into the White Sox. But let's keep an eye on that one. Don't be shocked if somehow we find ourselves at the beginning of October and they're the Tigers playing the Yankees. It's possible. It's absolutely possible right now. But I feel I think the Twins will hold their own. They're I can't remember which Twins like pundit or whomever or someone who follows the team basically said they're just trying to get to Correa being back, which is going to take longer than Buxton. It's basically the end of the season. If they can get that far and they're all healthy at that point, okay, cool. Maybe they can go on a run then, but they got to stitch their way to that, and that's going to be a tough one.
If somehow the Tigers do get into the postseason there, AJ Hinch has to be the manager of the year in the American League then, right? Over Stephen Vogt? Or is it really close?
It's going to be Vogt at this point. You
still think it's Vogt?
Yeah, because this would be like the last. I mean, I know a lot of votes. It's going to be so confusing when this comes around. A lot of votes for these sort of positions can be based off of, I mean, it's understandable. It's a human thing. Recency bias. You do something towards the end of the season, that's going to make a difference. Another one that I was hearing, I think it was Tim Kirkjian was saying, like he was remembering when Chipper Jones went on a tear in 99 at the end of the season, and that's what got him the Rookie of the Year. And he was going over Jackson Merrill or Jackson Churio. By the way, that same article, overwhelmingly Merrill, but the way Churio's been playing of late, and especially if Churio keeps doing stuff like he did the Grand Slam over the weekend, the home run, I know they lost, but the home run last night, if he keeps doing that sort of stuff, recency bias, he could play his way into that. So I suppose the same could apply for Hinch if the Tigers become the hottest team in baseball for the final month of the season. But I think the Guardians would have to really start to slip down to like 530, 525 winning percentage. I don't know that it's going to be enough, given that the Guardians have been so good for the entirety of the season. I think Vogt's still going to win it.
Here's, in case anybody's wondering what the numbers are between Jackson Merrill and Jackson Churio, okay? Jackson Merrill has 41 more at-bats, by the way, than Jackson Churio. Just throwing that out there. He's got 41 more at-bats than Jackson Churio. Churio has more runs scored. He's 69 compared to Jackson Churio's 68. Jackson Merrill, Jackson, this is going to be really confusing. I'm just going to say Merrill and Churio. How about that? Merrill's got 140 hits. Churio's got 123. Merrill's got 21 home runs. Churio's got 19. Merrill's got 79 RBIs. Churio has 69. Merrill has 16 stolen bases. Churio has 20. So he's one home run away from having a 2020 season. Merrill has a 291 average. Churio has a 280. On base percentage, Merrill's a 323. Churio's a 331. OPS, Merrill's an 816. Churio's an 801. So similar in a lot of areas. Otherwise, you got differences in some categories and such too. But and want to break it down, Merrill in his last 111 at bats is hitting 315. Churio 325 in his last 123 at bats. Call me a homer, but I think when you factor in everything else and the rest of the roster here, Churio I give him the slight advantage. I give him a slight lead.
I think I might lean Churio because, again, what you said with the roster.
Mm-hmm.
The Brewers are, at least right now, a less talented team. I always hesitate on, that's why I always say ability as well as talent. Talent is what is the core potential of a given person. So for all we know, the Brewers actually are like one of the craziest talented teams we've ever seen, but they're so young, we don't really know how much that's going to blossom. We'll know more in 5 years. The Padres were more sure. They have more veterans that have shown their talent. We know what they all can bring between Tatis, Machado, etc., Darvish. Musgrove's back, all of those guys. So I would say for sure more ability with the Padres and likely more talent. So Churio is making necessarily, I guess, has to do more to help the Brewers to win. And they've had a lot of success from a lot of positions. I mean, we know about Contreras and Adames. I mean, even Hoskins with his generally weak offensive numbers, he always seems to have a clutch home run. Like there's a lot spread around, but I think the Brewers are in worse shape, no Churio, than the Padres with no Merrill. I do say that barely, but I think that's the case. So if we're going value, I would lean Churio.
I would agree. Call us homers or what, but that's where I go with.
Also,
now I don't know.
Really not a wrong answer for either one. So.
Right. And I guess the other part of that though too is like it almost sounds like we're making the case for an MVP, because you talk about roster and such over there. So is MVP in Rookie of the Year a little bit different, where Rookie of the Year is just straight up the best rookie? Whereas do you factor in MVP, like, okay, how much do they mean to the team too? Or is it hand in hand?
Yeah, gosh, that's the thing. Like, I tend to be more of a literalist. Who is the most valuable player? But I mean, if you're going to do that, then I guess you could start breaking down different sorts of WAR, and you could end up with some player we've barely heard of who is actually the most valuable player to their team. But then who's overall like the best? And I think it ends up becoming that. I'd be curious to find out, when did the term most valuable player really like lock in, as opposed to just saying like player of the year. We could have gotten away from a lot of this. Just
who is the MVP for the Brewers right now?
Oh.
Is it Willie? Is it Jackson? Is it still Contreras? That was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, because Adames keeps hitting 3-run home runs.
He's the Steph Curry of the Major League Baseball right now.
Kind of is.
I did look up a little bit earlier MVP odds, and Willie has the 8th best odds now in the National League.
Highest Brewer at this point?
Yes. He's the only one that shows. Do I still have it up? I don't have it up, but Ellie De La Cruz still has higher numbers and odds, I should say, than Willie Adames. But at least he's entered the chat, if you will. He's probably going to get some like 6th place, whatever they, Willie's going to get some sort of votes. And it's going to show up on his thing. He's like, oh, he finished like 9th in MVP voting in 2024.
He'll be in Baseball Reference like MVP-8 or something like that.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what I was imagining when I was trying to say that.
Right column.
Yep.
Which is cool. That's cool. That's going to almost certainly be on his record forever. Defensively, who's better, Churio or Adames?
Even though he has been a little down this year defensively, I'd still take Adames.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's had a couple rougher moments, but is he a liability? No. So, gosh, I might lean Adames at this point. Speaking of Baseball Reference, I know they always have like their best player of a given team, and I should see what they have right now.
Do they do it by WAR? Do you know?
I'm trying to remember if it's WAR or how they do that. Bringing it up right now. Like the top right now, their top player is Bryce Terang.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Based on their calculations.
Okay.
It's in WAR. So it's Terang.
Okay. What's his WAR at?
4.4.
Okay.
See who else. Contreras was last year, then the last 3 years were Burns. Remember last week I was talking about Burns tailing off? It's gotten worse since.
Nice. Sucks for him for a contract. He'll still get paid.
Right. Stask Orioles fans, though, they're probably not in as charitable of a mood right now. Trying to find the WAR rankings, and let's see. So right now, your top WAR, Terang, followed by Contreras at 3.8, Churio 3.7, Adames 2.9.
Interesting.
And then, in case you're curious, the ones above 2 are Ortiz, Hudson, Perkins, Yelich, and Myers.
Okay. And Hudson just got sent down to the minors, so AAA.
But of course, that's the entirety of the season as well. So, I mean, if you're going to purely go on WAR, I mean, Terang has had some really good moments, so I think a lot of that also helped or came from early this season. I would say, gosh, this is making me think it's really Contreras because of what he does from the catching position.
Right. That's why I was making the case earlier in the season why he should have been getting more attention because of how he manages the pitching staff over there too.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel like it's an underrated is incredibly underrated when it comes to, when you talk about these players and how pivotal or MVP calibers and I know catching, it's changed. You got the communication, whatever, that sort of stuff, and calling games and that, but still 17 different starting pitchers for this team. And Contreras has caught not every single game, but every pitcher, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got to factor that into it too.
Yeah. That makes a big difference holding up a pitching staff that was thought to be the weaker-ish spot of the franchise this year compared to a lot of prior seasons. So, yeah, I ultimately, I'm going to come down on Contreras because of all that he can provide.
All right. Would you go? Let's put it out to the listeners, shall we? Who's the Brewers' current MVP right now? And you can't say Pat Murphy.
No.
Can't say Pat Murphy.
By the way, Rhys Hoskins, third lowest, tied for the second lowest WAR, -0.5. Mm-hmm. Tied with Hobie Milner and just a bit above Owen Miller at a -0.6.
I don't even know if Owen Miller's still on the team. Maybe AAA. I don't know.
Might not be.
I don't know. So,
but would you rather not have Rhys Hoskins on this team?
I'd still rather have him. Yes, I'd like to have him be a little bit more consistent at the plate. Especially with no Yelich, I'd really like him to be in that top half. What I find so interesting is how Pat Murphy is still constructing these batting lineups. For as hot as Willie is, still batting fifth. Blake Perkins was batting in the 2 spot last night, I believe. I mean, it's just been kind of all over the place right now, but it's working.
Why do you think he's doing that?
I don't know. I think it's. I mean, I love how he's putting Terang in when they're going up against a left-handed pitcher. And at the beginning of the season, the theory is, you can't have him out there left-handed pitching, right? You got to have the right-handed and heavy bat. But then it's like, okay, he said he's going to give a shot to these guys to go out there and prove that you can hit left-handed pitching, whatever it is. So he gave Terang a shot, but also that he's like, okay, we're going to put him at the 9th spot instead of the leadoff. It's been working. I don't know what Pat Murphy's got on this thing, but whatever decisions he's been making more times than not has been pretty darn solid.
Yeah. He's holding up on the manager of the year thing for sure.
There was a perfect image last night because we got back from football, so we turned the game on for a few minutes before Hudson went to bed. And it was right when the Cardinals manager and bench coach got ejected. A 2-for-1 special, right in the same 5 seconds. And they were arguing a pitch zone. And so they get ejected in that. And all of a sudden the camera just flashes to Pat Murphy. He's just sitting on the bench. No reaction, just like calm, cool. Like it's just like no reaction whatsoever. Just sitting on the bench.
The Sphinx.
Yeah. And just looking out there.
Gosh.
It's like he looks so calm, cool, relaxed, and like, just watching them get, thrown out and all that. So
wow.
But,
yeah. Look, he's lost his temper. We've seen it,
obviously.
Oh, yeah. But he's got a very strong feel for the game.
Mm-hmm.
I know the Cardinals folks aren't exactly rookies, but still, Murphy's been around a lot. He knows.
Oh, yeah.
And his team is in a better spot than the Cardinals, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Way better spot than the Cardinals.
Yep. There's such an interesting quote from him last night, again, talking about his team's offense. And let me bring it up here because the offense after the 5th inning, I mean, they were ice cold. They didn't get another hit until the 11th when Willie hit that double to tie it up. But from the 5th through the 11th, they didn't have another hit. But Pat Murphy said it just wasn't our normal output by a mile. And this is where I thought it was kind of interesting. I take it maybe too personally, and he's mentioned this a few times how he takes things personally. I take it maybe too personally. That's just me. I love the guys. I don't get mad at the guys. I just wish they understood how they're capable of staying mentally tough. I thought that was just kind of an interesting quote, especially that last part. I wish they understood how they're capable of staying mentally tough. You don't hear a lot of coaches or managers talk like that.
No.
I don't feel like.
No, there's say that again. Like I'm trying to process that.
It just wasn't our normal output by a mile. I take it maybe too personally. That's just me. I love the guys. I don't get mad at the guys. I just wish they understood how they're capable of staying mentally tough.
Huh.
I just thought that was a really cool
Wow.
quote. And
It is. Yeah, like I'm you always want to try to parse it or something, and I know, like that's he knows.
Mhm.
And I sound like it's a wishy-washy. No, seriously, I heard you say that 3 times, and I'm like, he knows what he's doing.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that sarcastically. He knows what he's doing.
I think that's an example of just the grasp he has on this roster right now.
It's leadership, basically. That's what it is. It's leadership.
Mhm. Yep. And I think the players obviously respond to it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
all right, we got to take a quick break here. Speaking of coaches, I'm going to talk a little coaches coming up here in just a few minutes. Get those bold predictions coming. We're feeling a little bold here today. Bold predictions for the Brewers for the rest of the season and the postseason, Packers, Badgers, all that good stuff. Hit us up with a text. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Kegs and Eggs coming up on September 20th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the 4th annual. Join us for the 4th annual Oktoberfest kickoff at Blue Marble Pub in Chippewa Falls, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. again. We're going to be over there. We're going to be doing probably trying to think of some ideas. I'd like to do, and maybe this is where I can open it up to some people for some ideas here, Lucas, but I'm thinking about maybe doing like a brat taste testing.
Whoa.
What do you think about that idea?
Yes. I've never heard of. I'm sure it's happened before in plenty of places, but I've never heard of it around here. Do it.
So maybe I'll recruit you and Brandon. We can do like a podcast and we'll grill up some brats.
Yes.
From like Mike's
please.
Star Market or something.
Oh my God.
And have a few. Because we got to do a brat thing, right?
Yes.
When it comes to Oktoberfest.
Yes.
So, all right. We'll put it on your calendar, okay?
Okay.
October 20th or September 20th.
September 20th. I'm there.
Kegs and Eggs.
Yes.
At Blue Marble. We'll be in the parking lot at Blue Marble Pub and fire up the Mobile Man Cave Grill and do that.
Early in the morning.
Yep. All right. Okay.
I'm having breakfast brats that day.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but I am.
All right. We'll work on that. We'll get a few different flavors.
Cool.
Over there.
Like,
I like it. All right. I knew you with the foodie.
Oh
like
yeah.
That, so
I make up for my lack of desire for beer with like extra fandom for brats and cheese.
yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
All right.
True.
C-Bomb says he's in for brat testing too. So maybe we'll have add a couple more to that too. So okay. Speaking of coaches, so I'm not trying to compare the two. But we were talking about Pat Murphy and some of the quotes that he says, and he talks about he's mentioned a few times of how he loves his players and that sort of stuff. Yesterday was actually the anniversary, and I missed it, of Vince Lombardi's passing. 1970? Is it 1970? Yeah,
Yep.
1970 for his passing. My question is, I'm not comparing Pat Murphy or Vince Lombardi. That's not where I'm going here. But, because we were talking about just a little bit ago, you don't hear coaches or managers talk like that too much anymore, how Pat Murphy says in quotes. Well, maybe the most quotable coach of all time was Vince Lombardi, right? I mean, I've got 3 different quotes in my office alone of Vince Lombardi right now. Is Vince Lombardi, in your opinion, and we'll try to keep it, non-Homer, try to keep it there, but the one coach who has kind of stood the test of time, if you know what I mean, where he's yes, it was a very different game, because when we talk about players, and I'm one of those now too, who is kind of moving in that direction, you got to compare the eras, right? Or you can't really compare the eras, right? Like, that's the one thing, for example, where Don Hudson, I think, okay, is Don Hudson more talented than a guy like Randy Moss? Probably not, right? But you got to kind of compare it to the generation and the era that they played in. But is Vince Lombardi the one coach that has maybe stood the test of time more than any other coach in any other professional league?
Before I give a yes or no, probably the best approach is to take other legends from comparable eras. So essentially John Wooden. Let's see. So if you're doing pro basketball, maybe Red Auerbach.
But for Red Auerbach, how many, let's say, younger or casual people really know about Red Auerbach?
I mean, outside of the Celtics, no.
Right.
Celtics fans, of course, but it's now pretty much become one. But based on like what they've done, what they said, etc., and baseball, gosh, I mean, for some reason, Casey Stengel keeps coming to mind. Unfortunately, a lot of that's the Mets. But legendary managers, so really it's Wooden or Lombardi for someone who's had a lot of like inspirational influence.
And John Wooden was the only other one that I could think of.
Right.
At that level. I'm glad you used the word inspirational.
Yeah. Because it's not necessarily about coaching technique.
Right.
That has to adjust with time.
Right.
And I suppose how you inspire players also can vary some, but that's more broad human influence. Certain things will last for eternity, basically, if you want to get really, really big picture, but some of it still applies no matter. Well, people are different now because they got smartphones. If you wanted to start going down that path, Okay, sure, but in a broad sense, same principles from the 60s applied in the 1860s, 1760s, 1660s, etc., and apply today too.
Mm-hmm.
In that regard, I would say Lombardi's yes. The answer, that's a long way of saying yes on Lombardi. As specific coaching things would have to change. It wouldn't work with current players.
Right.
But I would like to think that him coming up today, being like several generations on, but then you take the core of who he is, would still be really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even going to try to comp with someone right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who that is. He is who he is. So yeah, I think Lombardi's broad stuff still holds value to this day. Well, okay, I think we answered the question affirmatively by saying it's Lombardi or Wooden, and we can't come up with anyone else because what he says you still hear in football lore, you still hear in football coverage.
Mm-hmm.
No one's like, that's whack. What are you talking about, Lombardi? No, it's still accepted.
Right.
So yes, Lombardi still holds in the 2020s.
And I'm sure some of it does help with the fact that, the Super Bowl trophy is named after him. It's the Lombardi trophy.
And the Wooden Award. I mean, there's another one.
The Larry O'Brien trophy doesn't really roll off the tongue.
I was about to say, talk about someone who has over-indexed compared to influence. And I'm not going to say like Larry O'Brien's a bum. No, he was a plenty good commissioner, but compared to his influence at the time, oh my gosh, that is expanded by so much because he's on a trophy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's as simple as that. So look, that's helped Lombardi. Everything Green Bay has helped. I mean, if he had been the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, for example.
Well, what if he was Washington? Flip-flop it. So he was there for Washington for a year. Does that change?
Gosh, I mean, in some ways, maybe it's more significant. I guess
maybe he gets the dream job that he wanted with the Giants.
Wow. Given how the Giants, the value of the Giants to this day, we were talking about before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe the significance is still big, if not bigger. I mean, you could do the whole, does he get driven out of New York earlier in that case? Well, I don't know. Maybe not.
Right.
Maybe the Giants are the dynasty of the 60s. I mean, they started off pretty good, and then they tailed off as the decade progressed. Maybe that doesn't happen under Lombardi, and the Giants win the first 2 Super Bowls. They have their Titletown USA. Well, they wouldn't have called themselves that, but that would have been that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you know how history then goes, and at some point we would have ended up with the Milwaukee Packers. So, I mean, that's probably not an entirely ridiculous notion. The point, though, is Lombardi was a good enough coach in terms of his overarching view of athletics and people. Far from perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Read the book. There was enough that was insightful that it's still worth following to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if it can survive into this era, I think it continues going for I'll just say the foreseeable future.
It is so weird. Like, this is what fascinates me about, and I love history and sports history and all that too, but it's so interesting to see how things can kind of connect the dots here. So, like, when Lombardi was playing college football at Fordham University, by the way, how many people know Fordham just because of Lombardi? You know what I mean?
Probably a lot.
Yeah. His head coach was a former Notre Dame player, Sleepy Jim Crowley. Jim Crowley graduated high school from Green Bay.
Wow.
Yeah, just, the circle, right? The connecting of the dots there.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And because, Lombardi coached at Fordham too. The circle of everything like that.
There are a lot of ties there.
His high school coach, Jim Crowley's high school coach too, some guy named Lambo. So it's just the ties, the connection. It's just so unique.
Every so often you'll have a person that has those kind of connections, and they're usually a pretty significant person.
Mm-hmm.
He just happens to be one of them.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're blessed that way. They're like, okay, you can have influence, and you've got the gift. What are you going to do with it?
Right.
And you did a lot with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Lombardi is, I mean,
Has Lombardi for, do you think some sports people or just maybe some younger people out there, maybe they don't really know him as a coach. They just know him that he's got some famous quotes, winning is and everything is the only thing,
oh yeah, totally. I mean, I,
which isn't all on the up and up, but the quotes, the longer we go, the more, how it goes.
what the hell is going on out here? I mean,
Yeah.
probably a bunch of them know that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like part
I
of
mean, I
it's
still have a tie from 8th grade basketball that I would wear every game day. And I love wearing ties. I wish I could wear this more often. But it's a Lombardi tie that says winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. Bought it at Kmart when I was in 8th grade. Just so I'd have a tie because we had to wear a tie on game days. And I still have that thing.
gosh.
I should just wear it randomly someday.
You
Maybe I should wear it Friday, dress up for game day or something like that.
Yes. Hey,
But-
folks, if you want to see Dan Kasper wear his 8th grade Vince Lombardi tie, come by.
Yeah.
That'll drive out the folks.
But I mean, that's probably his most famous quote of
It
all
is.
those quotes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they might still have it, a website just dedicated to all Lombardi quotes. I was at the preseason game, and there was people handing out pamphlets of just Lombardi quotes.
Really?
Yeah, I still have one. I kept it. Literally, it was all just pamphlets of Lombardi quotes. 2 guys were handing them out.
There wasn't any like ulterior motive or anything?
No, because when I was first of all, I didn't know what it was. Usually I don't take that stuff, and it was just Lombardi quotes. Little pamphlet, nice pamphlet, but yeah.
That seems like one of those apocryphal things about a local place. Like they even do so and so around here. Like, okay, come on, that's just too good to be true. Wow,
Mhm.
I never would have imagined. That's awesome. I'm glad that's happened.
Yeah, that's why I thought, okay, what's the ulterior? What's the catch? What's the ulterior motive here?
And then it's like a church thing, or I mean, not that church bad, but I mean, like it's for that, or sign up for this like a crypto thing or something where you're like, okay, I know.
Yeah. Yep. So
Wow, gosh, that is so Lambeau Fieldish.
oh, isn't it?
Gosh,
Isn't it? So, but yeah, maybe okay. So I can wear the yellow jacket, the Packer yellow jacket on Friday with the Lombardi tie.
well, see, you got a sport coat to wear with that.
Dang, I might have to do that.
And it's not like you have. It's not like you have a closet full of T-shirts, and you're like, how do I wear a tie on this?
The only thing I don't have is the dress shirt to wear underneath it. Packer theme. I mean,
You've already got 2 things going. Like you see, if you go for 3, now that's getting
That's true.
That's overkill.
that's true. Yeah, I don't need to. Okay, I'll
this
think
point,
about it.
Yeah,
I'll
right. I
think
mean,
about it.
you've seen the fans. Some of them were like everything is a Packer thing. You're like, yeah, okay, sure.
Mhm.
Like you're not crazy, but that's overboard.
Right.
2 things is okay.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't that long ago there was the debate about Belichick and Lombardi. The way Belichick finished off that career, do you think it teeters more towards back to Lombardi?
It does. It's literally just reading on Twitter about the latest media thing that Belichick is doing.
Yeah.
Like just announced
Yeah.
this morning, and I didn't even recognize what it was, and I'm trying to find it right now, and I'm not.
I
but-
saw a glimpse of it too, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Which again,
It was like a rundown of all the stuff he's doing.
right? It's extensive,
Mm-hmm.
not inherently bad. It's just that he is going all in on media appearances.
How do you think, so put him in this time frame, how do you think Lombardi would have done with all the media and social media? Do you think he'd be doing what Belichick's doing right now? Because, I mean, for all, I remember when NFL Network, it was the 100th anniversary and they did the 100, top players and coaches in that, right?
Mhm.
And Belichick obviously was named as top 10 coach. And I remember Rich Eisen, who was part of that, because Belichick was on that show, and fantastic show when they revealed it. But the phrase was that Belichick is the closest to Lombardi that we've seen. Not just from wins, but maybe personality from what we've seen, right, on the sidelines and all that.
Mhm.
Okay, so Belichick's doing all this media stuff. Would Lombardi have done all this media stuff? And remember too, I mean, he did a lot of speeches, right? Did a lot of business stuff, speeches, quotes,
Yes.
and that, books. But do you think he would have went to this extreme?
Okay, so let's see. He was 57 when he passed.
Mhm.
Let's presume that he managed to live good health to like at least his late 70s, and beyond that, you don't know. So I'm trying to remember from when I read Pride Still Mattered, how long he was likely going to coach Washington. I'm good. Let's just say he would have coached like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Probably would have been done at that point. He would have been around 61, 62. So say about 1974 or so, he's out of coaching, and he maybe gets a like an emeritus position, or maybe he's like gets a front office NFL position. It's probably where it goes next. Where I'm intrigued, and I don't know if the direction of the show was quite going to go this way, but remember the NFL Today really kicked in as the NFL Today in 1975. Does Vince Lombardi join the NFL Today?
Ooh.
Brent Musburger, Phyllis George, and Vince Lombardi. Like, I don't think so, but he's out there. And they're establishing this new show to make something of pre-games, which had not been a thing prior to the NFL Today.
Interesting.
I mean, that
remember Vince Lombardi also had a board game. They made a board game with him.
They did?
Oh yeah, I've thought about buying one on eBay.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Like okay, so now I don't know that Lombardi would have done color commentary.
Yeah, I
don't know why. It doesn't seem to match. But I could totally. And okay, maybe it's just because he kind of looks and talks like Jimmy the Greek, so maybe that's greasing the skids a little bit, because he seems to fit that mold. Way higher character, obviously,
right?
But it's just what that is. I mean, if he looked like Brent Musburger, you'd be like, wow, maybe he could have gone right into anchoring or something like that. But I could maybe see him on there. I don't know how long it would have lasted, though. Maybe it would have been like, well, they started with Lombardi and it was working pretty well, but then we brought in Jimmy the Greek, which sounds like, wow, you're going from Lombardi to Jimmy the Greek. But chemistry is a big thing too. So that's a way of saying I think he would have done some media stuff. I think ultimately, though, as difficult it is to compare 70s and 80s sports media to 2020s sports media, I don't know that he would have done that much. I don't think he vanishes. Like, I don't think he necessarily becomes an ESPN figure in the 80s, even with their tenuous nature. I don't see him on draft coverage, though that would have been wild. What if, here's a real what if, they bring in Vince Lombardi, NFL draft expert.
Oh, man.
Circa 1982-83. So it's Lombardi and a very, very young Mel Kiper Jr. with Berman in a ballroom with Pete Rozelle.
Ooh, I don't know if I could. That's a hard one to pick.
I know. Like, again, you have to.
Because remember, he didn't draft a lot of those Hall of Famers. That wasn't him. That was not Lombardi.
Right.
It's Jack Venisi. So, I mean, I don't know if a lot of people just kind of assume.
Yeah, and it was Lombardi. It was not Lombardi, right? It was Venisi.
Yep.
I think what I could see, the social media thing is so wildly different. And I don't think he does, like, if you're trying to put Lombardi to today, I don't think he does anything real social media oriented. I think he might be a version of, like, okay, is the comp better Saban or Belichick?
Ooh. Yeah, I think that comp's better.
Yeah, I mean,
because those two are so eerily similar. That's why I thought,
and yet different too, the way that they're approaching.
Yeah,
what they're doing.
I would love if those two would do a podcast together. Now that they got some downtime in that.
Gosh, wow!
Like I'll be honest, if you'd asked me a few years ago, would Saban and Belichick be hanging out with Pat McAfee on his show and that weekly? No. I never would have thought that.
Sorry, that image of McAfee bouncing and Saban totally frozen, waiting for the next break.
Right. Well, that's like I never would have thought that a few years ago.
No, of course not. But I could see that might be the one. Maybe Lombardi does a Saban thing where he chooses where to go, provides a good amount of insight. Maybe he does, like, in a modern sense, to tie it back to the 2020s. He's doing like a Manning cast sort of thing, or a coach's the coach's feed during the bowls, where all the coaches are sitting around, but it's
It's yep.
the prominent one.
The coaches'
is,
room or whatever.
Yep.
The film. Yeah.
But Lombardi is the main guy.
Mm-hmm.
It would be kind of the Saban equivalent. I don't think he ends up in like a Saban college game day thing. I mean, modern NFL shows are watered down so much. So again, that's why I was trying to think back in the 70s and 80s when they met more. So that's where I think like in the 80s or the late 70s, you could have seen like NBC go, oh, hey, what's going on here with the NFL today? Let's make a big splash and bring in Vince Lombardi on the NFL on NBC.
Well, and we got to remember too, if he was still around, they probably don't call the Super Bowl trophy the Lombardi Trophy.
Oh my gosh. What would it have been?
I don't know.
Would it have just been the
I
Super
mean-
Bowl trophy, which again would have led to it probably being, oh gosh, you know where this is eventually leading. Corporate naming rights.
Oh,
Yep.
well, I mean, they just call it the World Series trophy, right?
So far.
Yeah.
Is it like the Commissioner's Trophy or something like that?
Yeah.
I know it's funny how the baseball one it's not like
Or Lord Stanley's Cup.
we know that Stanley Cup is like the Stanley Cup, and well, because it's actually the name of the playoffs, so that's probably honestly the most identifiable because it's used for other purposes. Lombardi Trophy is a very it's like a 1A.
Mm-hmm.
The Larry O'Brien
I mean, you call it just the Lombardi. Like, we got to win a Lombardi.
Have you heard that?
Oh yeah.
Gosh, I've never heard that.
Oh yeah. We got to
Seriously?
we got to win a Lombardi. We got to win. Bring the Lombardi home. Bring the Lombardi Trophy home.
I've really never heard that. I don't know
Oh,
why
yeah.
I've not, but
Mm-hmm.
interesting. But yeah, you don't. But yeah, the Larry
It's all
O'Brien
about
is
the Lombardis.
wow. I might have to start using that.
Mm-hmm.
I've not. The Larry O'Brien is a very distant third,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the World Series trophy is great of a trophy as it is. That in terms of the name,
Well, it's just a hunk of metal, according to Rob Manfred. So
he will never.
that's
ever,
not
ever
going to
lose
leave him. No.
Never.
No.
Nope. As long as he's presenting that thing, it will never leave. Interesting, though. Gosh, I'd never imagined what ifing Lombardi's tenure a long time. I actually could see him doing a morning show in the 70s and 80s. And maybe he does like a column for Sports Illustrated. Yeah, Commissioner's Trophy is the name for MLB. I wonder if he does something like that.
Mhm.
Could he write something along the line? I mean, not to the point of becoming a DeFord or someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
But does he write like a back page column, Sports Illustrated?
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take a break, and we'll close up this second hour. Business and sports coming up just past 8 o'clock. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. We are looking for some bold predictions from all of you, whether it's Packers bold prediction, it's a Badger bold prediction, it's a Brewers bold prediction. Feeling kind of bold here today, so hit us up with some of those bold prediction. Gophers maybe win 2 games this year for football after last week. I don't know.
Hey, I do have my NFL predictions that are a little bold. I'll
Okay.
give them next hour if you want them.
Yeah,
You might like it. Maybe.
Ooh,
Maybe.
don't jinx it, man. You're gonna jinx it on us, aren't you? Hey, did you dominate really quick? We only got about 30 seconds. Did you dominate your fantasy football draft like you did last year because nobody knows how to draft?
I didn't even win last year.
Oh, geez.
And you know what? They did better this year. Like no one
Okay.
was drafting 2 kickers early.
Okay, good.
So I don't know. We'll find out. I got my second draft tonight.
Oh, okay.
Now that's the one that I've never, ever, I'm the only person in that draft who's never won anything. There are also more football types over there. So if that tells you anything.
Got it.
Wish me luck.
All right. Well, hey, sometimes it's the one that you don't think is going to do well that does well.
Exactly.
So.
I'm riding on that 100%.
All right. We'll get Luke's bold NFL picks coming up next hour, plus business and sports. We'll hit up that coming up here, too. We'll get back to some baseball talk, too. Brewers trying to win the series against the Cardinals later on tonight. Just 23 games left of this Brewers regular season. Final hour on this Wednesday morning coming at you here. Appreciate you tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in from. Coming up, we're going to do a little business of sports to kick off this hour. We got some NFL picks over there too. You can send yours on over too if you want to participate. Your predictions for the upcoming season. Text those puppies on over. Looking for some bold predictions for the Pack, for the Badgers, for the Brewers for the rest of the season, or whoever you want to do a bold prediction for. Let us know. You can send those on over as well. But let's begin this hour, shall we, with a little business of sports here. I feel like one of the most popular topics that we've always discussed when it's come to the business of sports has been streaming or watching on TV. And it's gotten a little bit more difficult for some sports fans. Again, Lucas.
Again.
DirecTV. This was a few days ago, but, you know, we weren't here, so. But DirecTV, you got DirecTV. You don't got ESPN right now. And heading into the football season might be a problem. Might be a little bit of a problem, right? I don't know of anybody. I'm sure there's quite a few that still do. I don't have it, so I'm not quite sure. But it was interesting when it first came down, you know, the release out there. Then you got like the press releases from everybody else, like as again, Andrew Brandt, said, translation, blame them, not us, when he retweeted the ESPN PR statement from the Walt Disney Company and ESPN regarding DirecTV. Obviously a lot of fans are you know, who do have DirecTV and such, probably a little disappointed. I'm curious to know too, like for establishments who maybe have DirecTV, how does that affect that possibly? Now, when you talk about ESPN, you talk mostly probably for like Monday Night Football, right? When ESPN's over there. So you don't have DirecTV, do you?
I do not.
Okay. But I know deadline spur actions, right? I know deadline spur actions in essence here too, but I mean, at what point are we going to start to just everything's going to be streamed, do you think? You know, like satellite dishes are going to be gone, streaming is going to be there, but then you got, okay, does it affect maybe rural areas where their best option is satellite? You know what I mean? With the internet stuff out there?
The difference is the gutting of cable. It's the other two. It's broadcast to allow anyone to be able to watch, and then streaming to be with the most the highest ceiling of future revenue. That's the smartest thing. You want to have reach and money. Well, the reach is broadcasting, the money is in streaming. Cable doesn't have comparable numbers to either one at this point. I mean, to be honest, I think there's a point very, very soon where at home, it's going to be streaming and an HD receiver for broadcast. Means I'm not going to have ESPN. Unless they do like a package or something like that. But that's probably coming pretty soon. And I think I can actually make my life through without that. I know Monday Night Football is going to be the biggest challenge unless it's one of those simulcast ABC games, but that's way reduced this year. But that's the move right now. So that's the smart thing. It's streaming, and well, you saw that with the NBA. Why do you think the NBA was like, no, Warner, we don't want you. You want to put stuff on cable? We don't want that. We want streaming. We want broadcast, mostly streaming, but also broadcast so that masses can see that. Why do you think teams like I think the Jazz are in it, and of course the Suns, that were the first prominent example, putting their games on over-the-air TV. Heck, we've seen Bucks games on WEAU.
Right.
When was the last time that happened around here?
Right. Well, and it also feeds into, Friday. Some people don't have Peacock, right?
And they are mad about that.
Yep. And yes, I know, thanks to a listener who I don't know who it is, but did point it out to me yesterday that, it is on local TV in Milwaukee. Well, we're not in Milwaukee unless you want to drive down there and watch it.
And spend gasoline money, and it actually will cost more than...
Or, hey, maybe I'm selling myself short. Maybe we got some listeners in Milwaukee. I don't know.
Also a possibility, yes.
But if we do, all right, yeah, you got it local, Around
Cool,
here in
thanks
the
for
Chippewa
listening.
Valley? Yeah, thanks for listening. Chippewa Valley? No. We don't get, unless you have a really big antenna.
No.
That I don't know if that's even still possible.
Side note, I love the people on Facebook that respond to that. Like, again, if you want to ruin your life for a little while, look at the Facebook comments. The responses to one of the posts from one of the local media organizations, and they're like, "This is an outrage. Why are they doing this? Nobody watches football, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, y'all, have you been paying attention to how this is working? I don't like it.
Mhm.
I'd prefer we're on a broadcast network or, well, for now, cable. I mean, yeah, I got Peacock. I'm lucky because we just happen to have Peacock, but it's working.
Well, and at the same time, exactly, it's working. But at the same time, too, I mean, if you play it right, if you've never signed up for Peacock before, you probably are going to get a 7-day free trial. So if you play it right that way.
If you're smart about it, and I like, right, and I know I don't like. Are you the type that will sign up for a free trial, or do you get weary of that because you're like, okay, now I got to deal with making sure it doesn't da 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 da?
Nope, free trials, baby. I am all about free trials. Yep.
See, I used to be that type, and then
as long as I make sure to, if I don't like it, then you cancel it so you don't get, charged a boatload.
Right, and I think I got annoyed by the whole like, oh, but now I got to da 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 da, and I usually will not do that. But to be fair, in most cases, the free trial is for some little thing I'm doing. I'm like, okay, I don't need to get a subscription for this tiny work project. No, I can do this elsewhere.
Free trial for Prime is the best.
See, now for something bigger like that, like a major game, or if it's a playoff game,
or just the shipping for Christmas.
Also that. See, there are benefits involved with this. You got to think the whole thing through.
Right. But that's I think somebody even texted yesterday. There was I'd have to go through. It's a boatload of stuff, and I don't want to right now. But somebody said, "Well, they got a special right now and all that." Yeah. Here's the thing: I currently don't have Peacock, but I will. I will by Friday.
Yeah.
I'll pay the few bucks.
I wish there was some way, and maybe there is, but I don't know that this is released. So one way that we in the public could find out how many subscriptions came. Well, not necessarily state of Wisconsin, because again, in Milwaukee, Green Bay, you're going to see it for free there.
Right.
And that's also a lot of the biggest concentration. But what would you get in Madison?
Right.
What are you getting outstate, out around here? I guess it's more of a country question, though, because again, the Packers have such a wide fan base that maybe it does spread around that much. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure either, but that's where I'm like, I guess I'm not all up in arms about something like that. I know some people are, but
the other thing is it's a Friday night first game at the beginning of the season. Like I mean, I guess it's still going to be a plus, but it doesn't seem like that.
Here's where I'd be more annoyed about. I'd be more annoyed about that it's on during high school football than it is on Peacock.
Right.
That's where I'd be more annoyed about, especially if I had if my son was playing in football, obviously I'd watch my son first, but rather have it be on a different day. That's where I'd be more annoyed about instead of it being on Peacock.
Right. And I mean, and there are plenty of people who don't have kids that are playing high school football, so for them, they're in, but that's not everyone. There's a lot. Well, I think there might be a decent overlap in terms of parents who have kids with high school football. I'm guessing here because I'm not a parent of a kid who plays high school football, but those types and football fans that are smart enough to kind of get like, okay, we don't really need to be all in on week one. We understand how football works. We understand the rhythms of the league. We don't have to watch this one for entertainment. We know it's going to be still. Here's your regular reminder. Week one of the NFL season is a glorified extra preseason weekend because of the quality of play we're going to see. Weird stuff's going to happen. So you don't have to devote your entire life to week one of the NFL season. The more bigger picture football fans probably also have a kid who's playing football. They understand the sport better. And maybe I'm ripping on casual football fan, but I kind of am because the casual ones are going to be like, I can't miss it. Well, yeah, actually you can. Really, it's okay. Your life will be fine. And there
I don't know. My life would be fine.
Well, I mean, but you're more you actually have a job to talk about it on the radio. Yeah. See, like you're the major domo of local sports.
Domo or demo?
I think it's major domo.
Okay, I don't know. I was just.
It's not.
I thought you called me Dumbo at first. I'm
No,
like,
no,
okay.
no.
Now you're sounding like my kid. So
A major domo is a person who speaks, makes arrangements, or takes charge for another. They are the highest person of a household, staff, a head servant who acts on behalf of the owner or of a large or significant residence.
Oh, don't tell my wife that one.
Well, I suppose, but for Packers fans around here,
okay,
you are the major domo of Packers.
Like that. That's my new line, Major Domo.
Major Domo.
Major Domo. C-Bomb, start calling me Major Domo.
Yes. In Magnum PI, Jonathan Higgins was the major domo.
Ooh, I can't grow a stash like Magnum PI.
Well, Jonathan Higgins. We're not talking Tom Selleck.
Oh, nobody. Top mustaches. Sam Elliott, Tom Selleck. Time for another day. Don't get me back on track now. So
we are really off at this point.
God, I wish I could grow a stash like those guys. Anyways, sorry, I can't.
You're not. Sorry, it's not happening.
No.
Plus, you have to wear a Tiger's hat.
I'm just saying stash wise. Sam Elliott. I wish I was Sam Elliott. But anyways, go ahead.
So yeah,
get me back on track, Luke.
Yeah, Peacock. People will subscribe. Complaining will eventually subside. Look, it's the regular season version of and I've talked about this so many times. And if you've grown up around Eau Claire, you know what I'm talking about because I saw it all the time in the 1990s. Packer preseason game wouldn't be on TV, and it was the front page of the Leader Telegram.
You're kidding.
The outrage.
You're kidding.
Packer preseason game not to be televised in Eau Claire. Ah!
Oh, that was a thing? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've seen her. I'm picturing myself because I would read the paper before I went out on my paper route. This is back in the 1990s. So, of course, I read through the paper first. I'm like, okay, let's check it out. And pre-internet, so that's what...
Pre-Twitter, pre-Facebook, yep.
Just a wee bit.
Yep.
And, it would be a thing like...
So, instead of the comments, it was letters to the editor.
Yeah, well, this was like a story.
Right,
and I mean, it wasn't written like an outrage. It was more like... FYI, you will not be able to watch the Packer preseason game. So if you do want to,
wow,
dude, people, that was probably my first instance of going, okay, Packers fans, y'all need to chill a little bit.
I would have been right there leading the picket.
That's the thing. Like if this had been social media era, they still would have been, there would have been outrage about that.
I would have been at the forefront. I would have been Braveheart, Mel Gibson.
Now, mind you,
charge.
Preseason games were a bigger deal back then because of who was playing in them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nowadays with which starter is going to play now? Unless you're analyzing.
Don't touch my preseason games.
See, that's the thing. Like, again, for you, it makes more sense because you're doing like depth charts and everything. Side note, props to Mr. Kalen King for making the practice squad and keeping your streak of the Lindsey Pipkins.
That was a surprise cut. Can we admit that was a surprise cut?
It was a surprise cut, but he's still in the Green Bay Packers organization for week 1.
All right.
Mission accomplished.
I sense a little sarcasm there, but okay.
Kind of sarcastic, but look, it's a technicality, but it works. But back then, preseason games were bigger because, Brett Favre would have played those games.
I remember one time, not to cut you off, but like I was camping as a kid. And I remember going to they had a bathroom there. And I noticed this long extension cord coming out of the bathroom. And I'm like, what is it? And I look, they plugged the TV into their campsite, a big screen, and they're watching a preseason game. Like 100-foot cable. They weren't supposed to do that. But I had mad respect as a kid that they were watching it. And I kind of wanted to join them, but I didn't know who they were.
That's another classic Packers apocryphal story that actually is true.
Right. Yeah.
Like, no way. No, they weren't really. Yeah, actually, they were.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. So, look, it's varied over time. And it's happening now, and then we all get over it. And then next year, there'll be some Packers game that's on Max. I don't know. And we'll all complain about it. And then people will subscribe, and we'll get over it.
Well, remember Netflix this year, too. So,
right.
Christmas game. So,
yeah.
At what point, though, I mean, is there going to be, everybody's still waiting for the team streaming and sports streaming services. Do you think eventually we will get to that point? Or do you think it's still going to be Peacock, Netflix, whatever other, Amazon, stuff like that? Do you think 10 years there's going to be, I know some are trying to combine, right? Was it ESPN and somebody else is trying to combine? Was it ESPN or the bundle or whatever that they're trying to combine?
Are you talking about the sports venue?
Yeah.
That's now like on hold because of like antitrust and stuff like that.
Exactly. That's the other part in this whole thing too, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. What is it going to look like? What's the landscape going to be in the next 10 years?
There's been a lot of prediction of streaming service consolidation. I've seen some of it, but that there will be more. I think more will happen. I don't know that all of them are going to stay afloat. I mean, I think Peacock's prospects look a lot better with the success they had. I'm granted, it was literally a game, but
and how much of it was Taylor?
Also that. How much do you love Taylor Swift dominating the NFL promo? Yeah, are you ready for it? Yes, of course, I had to throw in a Taylor Swift.
I'm surprised she hasn't taken over for my girl Carrie yet for Sunday Night Football. So as long as she's holding on to that one,
I think Carrie's going to be safe on that one. I think. Don't doubt it though.
Unless they do a special Chiefs one. Okay.
Oh my gosh, there would. But between that game and especially the Olympics this summer, Peacock, I think, is in a much better spot. I think, and I don't know, maybe their financials don't look that good, but by all accounts, it was looking like this was one of the first times where Peacock wasn't like, oh, Peacock, like one of those also ran streaming services. Like it made sense this past summer. So they're in better shape. Amazon Prime is, Prime Video is good. Netflix is good, like good in terms of their stability. After that, Paramount Plus, Max. And there's not too many others before you get to like the Plutos and the Fubos and the free ones. I think there'll be a little bit more consolidation. Right. The key, though, is what the next commissioner views in terms of reach of the NFL. Roger Goodell very much values breadth. Wants as many people as possible to easily engage with the NFL. And the easiest way is on free broadcast TV. It doesn't necessarily mean, by the way, that this involves networks. I mean, again, the possibility of stations dropping affiliation you might start seeing that more and more if networks don't have good other content besides the NFL. They may go independent.
I don't know if that's related to this, but when I was a kid growing up in the booming town of Medford, a population of 4,000 people, Packer games. So that was, the John Madden, Pat Summerall, Fox, right? They're actually aired on our ABC station during games, though,
because there was no Fox ability. I think that was back when I think you still could, move them around that way.
Right. That ain't happening anymore these days.
I don't think so.
So I don't know if that's kind of like when you were kind of discussing this a little bit. I'm like, gosh, I remember as a kid, and anybody who's maybe from around where I'm from back in the 90s too. But it was like always weird. Like, yeah, it's a Fox, but then, the commercials would be ABC, then the game's Fox. It's like, okay, kind of weird that way. But yeah, always WAOW, Channel 9.
Ah, yes. Yep. Yes. So having that ability to get out the sport, does that change with another commissioner that decides to maybe take more of an Adam Silver, we got to be all in on streaming and make revenue that way? And that's what I said last week. Again, this is just a theory from Chuck Klosterman of do advertisers at a certain point go, we keep spending more and more and more and more, and we're not necessarily getting more for that. Do we bail? What does that mean? Is that worse for broadcasters who are the main networks that are kind of relying on live sports? Because otherwise they're not getting ratings for much anything else. But does that hurt streaming? Because they're relying on advertising as well. Like, I think that's more of a problem for the leagues than it is for the providers. Because if advertisers start bailing, that's a league problem. Because then no one's going to be offering lots and lots of money. Unless it's some private individual, one person that is like, yeah, I'll give you billions of dollars on my network. I mean, I don't think anyone has anything like that. Even we're talking about private investment. That's not happening. So 10 years from now, I think broadcast is still around. I don't know that it's on cable. I'll be curious to see how ESPN over the top goes once they have their dedicated service that's coming very soon. And after that, I don't really know exactly which streamer will have what. I wonder if Prime Video ends up with more, given that they really seem to like this, whereas Netflix, unless they have a philosophical change, they're dipping their toe in this, but they seem to not care as much. Maybe Peacock becomes more of a player too.
Right.
Side note on Medford, by the way, I was looking to see how much of a boomtown it's been. According to historical census, every decade since 1880, only one decade was there a decline in population. That was at the 2010 census, was at minus 0.6, but otherwise it's been steadily increasing. But I think the same people live there. 1990, 4,283. Today, 4,000.
Wait. I remember it. I remember the sign when I was growing up. Let me see if that's one of these years.
Okay.
4,303.
4303. No.
What?
But 4283 in 1990.
No.
According to the U.S. decennial census. So
Or is it 4,403?
They may have updated it mid-decade. You know, like
Okay.
sometimes you'll see those. They make an, okay, so that could be it.
Okay.
Based on that.
So what was it, 2,000?
4350.
Oh, I remember that sign.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a 4,303, and then it went up 47.
And now it's, as of 2020, it's 4349.
Wow.
Like, it doesn't change at all. Like, the same people are living in Medford.
That does surprise me.
Exactly the same people. It is a perfect switch over from people passing away to people being born.
I can count on my one hand how many times I've been back in the last 10, 15 years.
So, and you don't count.
Yep. No,
you're not a Medford resident. So you're not in that historical population.
No. Not until they make a tombstone pizza with my name on. No, I'm just kidding.
Challenge issued.
All right, we got to take a quick break here. Let's talk some more baseball coming up after these few words. John from Eau Claire. Good morning, Major Domo.
Yes, it's sticking already.
Bold predictions. Jordan Love will be MVP. Badgers will only win 7 games this year and play Colorado in a bowl game. Willie Adames re-signs with the Brewers in the offseason. All right, I like those. Solid, bold predictions.
Not bad. I love how we're already getting, not from him, because these are predictions, but like from ESPN, week after week 1, here are the bold predictions. Like, stop.
They already got bowl predictions?
Yep. Who's going to which bowl? Check it out.
Oh, my God.
I did not tap on that one.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't click on that either.
No, I mean, I get it because you're like, oh, what's going to happen to Florida State now? Like, okay, I get that, but.
All right, I know I said we would talk some baseball here quick, but I want to get your predictions here so I can ridicule them.
All right. Here we go. So
your NFL season predictions.
NFL season predictions, here we go. So you're 1 through 7 seeds in each conference. So the top 4 are going to be division winners.
Start with the AFC.
AFC, Kansas City, Houston, Cincinnati, Buffalo.
Okay.
My wild cards, 5, 6, 7. Baltimore, Miami, and the New York Football Jets.
Okay, so the Jets is a 7 seed.
I do have them in the playoffs this year.
All right.
Then I have Houston beating the Jets, Cincy beating Miami, Baltimore beating Buffalo in divisional round, KC over Baltimore, Houston over Cincinnati, and then I have Houston going to Arrowhead and winning.
Wow.
So the Texans in the Super Bowl.
So you are ready to crown CJ Stroud.
I am. I don't feel, actually, that side of the bracket, I don't feel that confident about that.
Okay.
But I'm trying to mix, you got to mix stuff up a little bit because that's pretty much what always happens. NFC side, again, in order 1 through 7. Green Bay, San Francisco, Philadelphia, and Tampa Bay. Wild cards, the Lions, Falcons, and Rams. In the opening round, I have Detroit beating Tampa Bay, Philadelphia beating Atlanta, San Francisco beating the Rams. Divisional round, it would be a Green Bay-Detroit matchup at Lambeau. I have the Packers winning that. Eagles going to San Francisco and winning.
So we got a rematch of week 1?
Yes.
Okay.
In the NFC Championship game at Lambeau, the Packers should be wearing winter warning stuff because it'll actually be something close to winter by this point. Green Bay beating the Eagles and going to the Super Bowl. That is my kind of bold prediction there. The Packers are going to the Super Bowl. Note, I did not say Packers winning the Super Bowl. I have the Houston Texans with their first NFL title.
Wow, Houston Texans winning it. Okay.
I know. My predictions last year were not that close, so I would not use that as an oracle of expectation for 2024.
And so the coming of age of two very young quarterbacks.
Yes, I think there is bias on the Packers because of where I live. Even not being a Packers,
I was going to say
it's not being a fan, but it's being surrounded by it. So it skews my perception on them. Because the general thought, and during the break, I was looking through Sports Illustrated picks. They just had those come out. And there are a few, Andrew Brandt being one of the few that has the Packers winning the Super Bowl. I think someone else had the Packers in the Super Bowl. Like there's at least
there's 2 picks on CBS Sports. Pete Prisco's one of them, has Green Bay winning it.
Okay. Greg Bishop has them losing the Super Bowl, but like Michael Rosenberg does not have them making the playoffs. So there's a lot of back and forth on that. The general consensus I think I've noticed in terms of like power rankings and such is that they're somewhere in like the 10, 11-ish range. I've seen some people have them up by like number 3. But I've been underwhelmed. I'm like, what are you seeing that I'm not? Or am I too close to this where I'm not seeing this and everyone else is like, yeah, they're not quite that good. Like the questionable parts with this team, the kicking, maybe some coaching decisions. If you're looking for the very simple way of putting it, offensive line could be an issue. But I think a lot goes well together. And I think they go on a run. There are enough questions with other teams where I think the Packers can still make their way through. And I'm believing in Jordan Love right now.
Okay.
But we'll see if that's worthy.
Let me ask you this. I was thinking about this earlier. Is Jordan Love the most intriguing quarterback this season? In terms of, is there still a little bit of an unknown about him? Highest paid quarterback now, based off of a half a season? Is he the most intriguing quarterback heading into this season?
No. I kind of know where at least I think this is reflected in my pick. I think we know where we're going with Love. I think he's figured out a lot.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he did really well in the second half and oh boy. Okay, so this is why you were throwing your hat back in 2020. That's possible. They got actually
I just got that, by the way, so thank you.
Gosh, that was such a great GIF, and it may turn out to be totally wrong, but for your sake, probably for good reason.
Yeah.
But I like the progression. I like how he's developed. There's a lot to like with Love. Gosh, it sucks saying that as a Vikings fan, but it's true. I'm seeing it. So reflect what it is. If that's, yeah, I in terms of intriguing, really like obviously the rookies, of course.
Caleb Williams is probably on there. Yeah, that's a good one.
But and then of course it's a little bit obvious. But yeah, I want to see, like, is he really going to be as good as he could be in season 1? I think Jared Goff is a really intriguing one. I mean,
I've already seen the talk. I'd have to double check it on their schedule, but somebody noted they have 14 dome games this year.
Wow.
And obviously they went through the numbers, how much of a better quarterback he is in the dome. I don't know if that's accurate. If the Lions have 14, we know they've got 8 or 9 at home already.
1, 2, 3. Now, are we counting grass or turf with this? Does that matter?
I just dome, controlled environment, because the thing has always been for him like cold weather games. So just dome.
Okay, because a few of these are retractable roof ones, like Cardinals, Cowboys, Texans.
I would count those as dome.
Colts as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most times they're going to be closed. That's usually what those teams tend to do.
Yep. So count those as
sure
controlled environments. How about that?
Well, in fact, the only road game he has in a fixed roof, so what we traditionally call a dome, is the Vikings game, which also might have open. It's October 20th, so they may be opening up the window, the big glass doors, and letting the breeze blow through, depending on what the weather's like.
Right.
So, but he'll still have. It'll be better than being in like New England in December. That's not happening.
Right.
He'll have a lot of opportunities. Now, that being said, he's also going to be in Chicago on December 22nd. San Francisco should be pretty nice this year, and they're not shaping up to have one of those monsoon kind of seasons, so it'll probably be okay. But I don't know exactly how much he's going to bring. He intrigues me a lot. Maybe because he looked so bad for long enough that I presume that's going to come back at some point, but maybe we need to get over that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I think the Lions could also be like a very strong number 5 seed. Like you could end up with the Packers winning like 12 games and the Lions 11 or something like that.
A couple weeks ago, I was kind of like, oh, are the 49ers going to be that team that I think still makes the playoffs, but are they going to win a division? Now with everything where, okay, Brandon Ayuk's back, Trent Williams is back. Now I'm like, oh, they're back now too, aren't they?
There's some in that SI rundown really high on the Rams.
That's where I'm intrigued with the Rams this year.
Yeah, it's a little bit back and forth, but there are a couple that had them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's why I put them in the playoffs. I think they have the potential to be that good. Maybe so.
I just wonder how big of a loss Aaron Donald. I mean, you lose Aaron Donald, that's a big loss on your defense. So,
of course it is.
That's huge too. So,
but I think overall they're moving very much in the right direction.
Absolutely. I think I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for the 49ers. So I think I don't know what to make of Seattle this year. Young new head coach, Mike McDonald over there. There was a game when I was making my picks, our Pro Football Weekly pick'em. One of the toughest games I had, to be honest with you, Minnesota and the Giants.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Like, what version of Sam Darnold are you going to get?
I don't know.
Right. Same with the Giants with Daniel Jones. I don't know. I really don't know I don't know what to expect from that one. And that probably might end up being one of the better closest games. Who knows?
It might be, and I'm not sure where I'm going to pick on that one.
Yeah. Well, so where do you have your Vikings finish up before we wrap this up?
I think they're last.
Okay.
I don't know that the bottom drops out on them, but I think they're last place this year. I have faith that Darnold's going to do better.
Now, when you say last, are we talking still like 7 wins?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Not like 3, 4, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think
But-
the AFC North and the NFC North are two of the deepest divisions, best divisions.
Yeah. I think so.
And I think it's going to be like that for the NFC North for a few years. It's not going to be a Green Bay cakewalk like we went through for a long time.
Yeah. Probably not.
So as a football fan, cool. As a Packers fan, crap. So
Pretty much.
all right. Let's take a quick break and we'll do some more picks and predicts. We got some baseball games to pick and all that good stuff there. Keep your bold predictions coming here. We'll take a quick break and be back in just a few minutes. Don't forget to get your picks in our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge. Head to our website, sportstalk1051.com. Click on the Fan Cave tab over there. Scroll all the way down to the bottom there into the prize dugout, and you'll see the icon there for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge. But game starting up tomorrow night already. Got Chiefs and the Ravens. The NFL season kicks off, so if it's gone like it has in years past, we know that competition is going to be tight for the leaderboard up there. So don't forget to get your picks in for these games because one game can matter. So again, it's free to do, free to make picks. Go out there, go to our website, click on that Fan Cave tab, scroll all the way down to the bottom there, and make your picks. All right. John, really quick before we do some picks and predicts here this morning, John, with the text, where did it go? Okay, so John's saying, have you noticed that there are a lot of non-Packers fans who like Jordan Love compared to recent quarterbacks for Green Bay? Why do you think that might be? Well, first of all, I think Jordan Love is still new. You know, he's still new. Do we know his full-on personality and such? But I think too, you know, and I'm not saying Jordan Love's going to turn into how people view maybe Rodgers or Favre right now. But I mean, Rodgers at the beginning, we all loved him. And still, some people still like him. But, you know, Rodgers being his career was on The Office. He was doing, you know, all these different stuff. So I think a lot of it is it's new. And maybe we don't know a whole lot about Jordan Love yet. But from all accounts, too, the dude seems to be a very awesome dude. I'll tell you like this. He won over my wife because of a story that he tried to help out somebody who was stuck in a snowbank and tried to push him out. And her response was Aaron Rodgers won't do that. So, I mean, you got, you know, stories like that kind of come up. But Aaron Rodgers did a lot of great stuff, too, does a lot of great stuff for charity work. And I remember, how many years ago when he used to do this thing, it was called It's Aaron. It was a website, and he would go around and do a bunch of charity stuff and such. So, I mean, they've all done some good stuff there, too. But I think it's kind of a honeymoon phase here, too. And hopefully it continues that way. Hopefully, you know, when Jordan Love's career is all said and done, there isn't any of those negative feelings that maybe some Packers fans have still towards Aaron Rodgers or to Brett Favre or whatever the case may be. You don't want that to happen. We don't want that to happen. So, all right, let's do some picks and predicts. Brought to you by the Elbow Room in Eau Claire. Hey, if you're one of those, maybe looking for somewhere to watch the game Friday night, the Green Bay game Friday night, head on over to the Elbow Room. They'll have it up, plus drink specials and such. So get on over there. Also, trivia night, Wednesday night, tonight too. So if you're looking for anywhere to catch any of the ball games, but specifically the game on Friday, because we know not everybody has that streaming service over there, you can head on over to the Elbow Room, located right next to the Banbury Place, and take in the game. Got some sweet green and gold decor in the friendly confines of the Elbow Room, can we call it? So check it out over there. Let's do some baseball picks here. Then we get to pick football games tomorrow. Philadelphia, Toronto. Let's go. I'm gonna go Philadelphia in this one. Yeah, I'll go Philly. Philly defeated Toronto last night, 10-9. Let's do Minnesota at Tampa Bay. I say Minnesota bounces back and picks up the win. Boston at the Mets. Mets won 7-2 last night. I'll go Mets again tonight. Cleveland at the Royals. Cleveland taking down Kansas City last night, 7-1 in that game. I'm gonna go with Cleveland to win this one too. Let's do Pittsburgh at Chicago. Last night you had Pittsburgh and Paul Skeens shutting down the Cubbies with a 5-0 victory. I'll go with the Cubs though tonight. Imanaga is on the mound for the Cubbies. So St. Louis and Milwaukee. I'm going to hold on to that one here just for a quick second here. Detroit playing some good baseball. Could they squeeze in? Could they sneak into the postseason here? They're going up against the Padres. I'm going to go Padres tonight. Arizona at the Giants. Arizona picking up an 8-7 win last night against the Giants. Zach Gallen's on the mound. I'm going to go with the Diamondbacks. And then Sonny Gray versus Colin Ray. Cardinals, Brewers. I'm going to go with the Brewers, and they win the series before their off day tomorrow, before they welcome the Colorado Rockies to town. That is your picks and predicts this morning, brought to you by the Elbow Room in Eau Claire. All right, let's recap some of the stuff here. We got a couple more bold predictions. I want to get to those because I know I missed some of them. Seabaum a little bit earlier had said that Braden Narvison leads the league in field goal percentage and makes the Pro Bowl. I did do surveyors. Okay, this one is from Kevin. Kevin is saying for the Packers, Jordan Love wins MVP this year. Josh Jacobs leads the league in rushing. Okay, that's a bold one there. We've got Steve. Steve is saying bold prediction. He's got one for each, for the Packers, for the Badgers, and the Brewers here. Steve is saying for the Packers, they will advance to the Super Bowl. That's his bold prediction. For the Badgers, he has them winning 9 games this year. And for the Brewers, they will finish as a top 2 seed. Okay. High expectations for those. A couple more texts here before we have to start to wrap things up here. We also have, this is from Mike. We've got a lot of Mikes that listen to the program. Mike is saying for the Packers, his bold prediction is that this is the second one I think I've seen. 2 receivers will eclipse 1,000 yards receiving. Which 2 receivers? Give me names. Give me a couple names of who you think it's going to be. All right. And then we've got Greg here saying my bold prediction for the Brewers is that they get the 2 seed and Jackson Cheerio squeaks out Rookie of the Year honors. Okay. I like him. All right. Just to kind of recap some of the stuff that we talked, a lot of Brewers falling last night in extra innings to the Redbirds of St. Louis. Bats went kind of cold there for the Brewers after the 5th inning, not collecting another hit until Willie Adames' double in the 11th inning. So the offense, little out of sync last night. Pat Murphy alluded to that after the game too. Brewers also before the game making some moves. And yesterday we were talking about the bullpen here for the Brewers and how they were going to have some options here, but they made some moves with a couple of their pitchers out of the bullpen. Bryce Wilson moved to the 15-day injured list. He's got an oblique strain, but Brian Hudson has been optioned to AAA Nashville. And Pat Murphy yesterday called it the toughest conversation this season, telling Hudson that he was being sent to the minors because on the surface, when you look at it, 1.73 ERA. And a big chunk in the first half. We're talking about is he an all-star pitcher? I mean, he was pitching incredibly well. But as it says here on Brewers.com, scoreless appearances, 6 of the last 7 times out too. That's on the surface, but under the surface. And we saw him pitch the other day. Kind of pitch count was up there. He went 1 2/3. But that first inning of relief there looked like he was kind of laboring a little bit. But apparently the Brewers have some concerns about his velocity falling. And in addition, Pat Murphy said Hudson hasn't been recovering from outings as well as the team would like. He said, we thought that because we have so much depth on the pitching staff that this would be a good time to get him a little refresher and get his mechanics right so that he can come back as strong as he was in the beginning. So he's getting sent down, but I wonder how much actually work he's going to get in. It seems like it's maybe a little bit more of a breather, but in order to get another guy up, they made this move. Elvis Peguero recalled from AAA. Bobby Miller reinstated. So hopefully, because I think, if you can get Hudson back to what he was at the beginning of the part of the year, where he was just lights out. I mean, we were talking about him, when we get, Devin Williams back and Trevor McGill, then you got your closer, you got your setup guy, you maybe got Hudson the seventh or a little versatility with him. So if we can get Hudson back to what he was first half of the season, I mean, then you're talking about, again, bullpen. They've got options when they're all healthy. And Joe Ross has been really good coming out of the pen. Aaron Ashby has been really good coming out of the pen, touching 99 miles per hour. I mean, it seems like it was interesting a couple weeks ago when they were talking about, maybe it was about a week ago with Aaron Ashby. In AAA, they were focusing on, him being a starter and such, and it just wasn't clicking. And then when they transitioned him back to the bullpen and working relief, it started to click a little bit more. Now, I don't know if that means that, okay, Aaron Ashby's future is going to be a relief pitcher. Because remember, Brewers locked him up for a long-term deal, kind of similar to like Freddie Peralta deal last year, year before. Obviously missed last year because of injury. But you kind of wonder now, is Aaron Ashby's role going to be relief pitcher coming out of the pen for his career? Or do the Brewers still view him as a potential starter down the road? Or is that ship kind of sailed at this point in time? But you look at these options now from the bullpen, and if you get, hopefully Hudson comes back, I mean, that's a pretty darn solid bullpen. And I really like what Joe Ross has been doing coming out of the pen here too. Guys that can maybe give you a couple innings here or there. Definitely making decisions hard when it gets to that postseason roster spot. And I know Jacob Mizorowski, could he be some? I just wonder. I know Jacob Mizorowski was mentioned as, okay, could we get a call up of him, maybe before the postseason starts. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, the guy's incredibly talented, pitching well, but you just wonder now with the depth within this bullpen and maybe even some guys who are starting games, maybe transitioning to the bullpen when it gets to the playoffs and that. I don't think we'll see Jacob Mizorowski. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe when we get to the postseason and such, and that maybe it will. But I don't know if we're going to. I'm excited to see Mizorowski though in the next coming years, because I think this team, when you factor in DL Hall, Mizorowski, Tobias Myers, Robert Gasser, those four right there, those potentially are your four future starting pitchers. Not to look too far down, because I mean, we got a contending team right now, but those four starters, I'm definitely excited about that possibility. Assuming Robert Gasser is going to come back from his injury and kind of pick up where he left off. Assuming Mizorowski is going to play up to the potential that we're hoping for. Assuming Tobias Myers continues to pitch incredibly well. But there's a lot to like with these young pitchers in this future for this Brewers team. All right, Packers already left at 7:20 our time, so they're already in the air, heading over to Brazil. So safe travels, Green Bay. Have a good rest of your day. DP and Adanitz are up next. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Picks, NFL picks. Get them to me tomorrow morning.